All right, I want to switch over to Joni, okay? I want you to give them a little bit of background of what happened to you, because at 17, you're a beautiful, vivacious girl, okay? What happened? And then I want you to talk specifically to people that are in so much pain. I asked some of my staff members to ask some of their mates that are in great pain. Give me 4 questions for my 2 guests for this program on suffering and pain, what God can do for you. 4 questions were this: when does the pain stop? 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 That's the only thing they wanted to know. There are some people that do not want to hear anything from God that is beyond their suffering. Okay? You were there for 2 years. You didn't want anybody to talk to you about Bible verses. Okay? So give me the background. Start with what happened. Give me that story. And then a word to those people that are saying, I don't really care what you say.
Well, I was an athletic, young, active teenager and did reckless things when I would get into athletics, and took a stupid dive into what was really very shallow water, thinking I would come up out of the pike dive, but I did not. And my head hit the bottom of a sandbar. It snapped my skull back and crunched my vertebrae and severed my spinal cord. And I'm lying face down in the water, totally paralyzed. And thankfully, my sister, who was in the water with me, happened to see that I was floating face down. Ironically enough, I had just colored my hair the night before with a peroxide, and she could see my blonde hair floating on the surface of the water. That captured her attention, and she quickly came, rescued me, pulled me up out of the water. I'm spitting, I'm sputtering, I'm gasping for breath. They take me to the hospital, they rip off my swimsuit, they drive bolts into my skull, they put me in traction on a long canvas sandwich, a striker frame, and all this is happening in a whirlwind of speed, and suddenly, when the doctors told me, Joni, you've severed your spinal cord, you're never going to use your hands again, and you're never going to walk, I plummeted into depression. I couldn't even compute what it meant never to be able to walk again, never to be able to hold a Coca-Cola or brush my hair or my teeth. I was overwhelmed. And this kind of suicidal despair really gripped me. I would lie in bed at night, wrenching my head back and forth on the pillow, hoping to break my neck up at some higher level and so thereby kill myself. But I was afraid to do that because then I'd only be worse. And I felt so alone. And I was listening to Michael read in the last segment from Hebrews. I desperately wanted to believe God, but if he was the God that he made himself out to be in the Bible, then somehow, some way, he had a hand in this. And how could he be trusted if he had a hand in it? But one night, John, I was feeling so overwhelmed and so lonely, so desperately alone in my pain and in my despair. For some reason, I started imagining this Jesus that Michael was speaking about. I pictured him walking through the door of my hospital room, past my roommates who were all sleeping. I pictured him coming up to the edge of my hospital bed. I imagined him, I didn't see him, I just imagined him taking the guardrail and gently clunk, clunk, lowering it, and then sitting on the edge of my hospital mattress and brushing my hair out of my eyes and then showing me his hand print, his palm, and saying to me gently, Joni, if I loved you enough to die for you, don't you think I can be trusted even with this? And that, to me, epitomized what you two were talking about a moment ago from Hebrews chapter 4. I had a high priest, I had a God. The God of the Bible wasn't some meditating mystic of a guru of a God on some far-off mountaintop contemplating his navel, twiddling his thumbs, staying at some arm's length distance from me and my pain. No, he got right down into the depths of my pain. And I began to see that night that Jesus goes where nobody else goes. He goes where no doctor goes. He goes where no counselor goes. He goes nowhere medication goes. And if I would but open my heart to him and let him in, I would begin to see his plan and purpose for my life. And it didn't happen overnight, not with a snap of a finger, but that night that I imagined him visiting me and saying, Johnny, I can be trusted. That was a step in the right direction.